Even on a globe, Newfoundland is covered by fog. Seriously. Welcome to Pocket Universe, everybody. My name is Darren Hann. On today's show, we're talking vampires with Charles O'Keefe, Kevin Noseworthy lets us know what's on the go down to Escape Quest, and Thomas Rahal tells us all about the charity work with Sandbox Gaming. Come right back after this. And I'd like to welcome to the show writer Charles O'Keefe. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hi, Darren. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Charlie, you are a writer. Tell us about your series of books that you have, sir.
Sure. I've written 4 vampire books. The first one's just called The Newfoundland Vampire. It came out in 2012. The first one is just a simple idea of I imagined myself when I was at university, what would happen if vampires were real and I became one. Okay. And then so how would I respond in these very strange and unusual circumstances? And of course others vampires show up and there's fighting and there's conflict.
So is it like a biography of you being a vampire?
No, it's not. It's kind of, I'd call it like a jumping off point. Like, of course, I really did go to MUN.
Yeah.
And there's things in the book that I did really do. Like, I really did go to Bitters, for example. That's the pub at MUN.
Okay.
It's just, obviously, I never met this redheaded woman who was a vampire.
Okay.
So I just kind of imagine, and then it's just, you know, things happen from there, right?
Okay.
So it's how I'd respond in these situations. So he has a lot of habits and personality, you know, traits that I do. Right?
A little bit of you is in the character.
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of me. I'd say it's probably a good 70–80% me.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Right.
So give us a little brief description of that story.
Okay. So the first story is he's a geeky, kind of shy university guy. Hasn't had a girlfriend before.
Yep.
He meets this woman, and it's like a dream come true.
Right.
She seduces him. They go back to her room, and then the next day, things start feeling strange. He doesn't feel well, sunlight bothers him, and then he starts to feel a lot better. He starts to have his senses get better.
Okay.
He can see better, he can smell better, he can hear better, he finds he's faster, he finds he's stronger. But of course, the thing that really starts to bother him is his food doesn't fulfill him anymore. He starts to desire blood, right?
Oh, okay.
And that's when eventually he has to confront her after he's forced to. He can't imagine drinking blood from a person. It just seems too horrible. So what he does, he drinks blood from moose, because Newfoundland's full of moose. This is where I try to have things that are fun about Newfoundland.
Right, okay.
That we'd all know, and that people who aren't from Newfoundland would find interesting. So after he has this bizarre act of drinking moose blood, he has to go and confront her, and she has to explain that, yes, I turned you into a vampire, and now you're one as well. Right?
And now you're one as well. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's book number 1.
That's 1.
And book number 2, what's the title?
2 is called The Gathering Dark.
Okay.
So 2, he's kind of drawn into a web of this vampire
So we're still with the same character?
Yeah, still the same character. They've had a big fight with another vampire, and they both survive it.
Okay.
And but now they discover there's another vampire who's on the loose, and he's killing people. Not only that, they discover there's a council. Basically, this council has kind of good vampires and evil vampires.
Okay.
And it's a fight between the council members, and the world is trapped in the middle. But for now, that just means that Cassandra and Joseph, the 2 main characters, they have to do what the council says, or the council will just kill them, basically.
Oh, nice.
So they're tasked with hunting down this rogue vampire who's just been randomly killing people and not being careful about it. Right? So, but things get more and more complicated.
So he's gone from a student at MUN to a vampire killer.
Yeah, to a vampire killer.
Oh, okay.
He's now drawn to this big conflict that eventually encompasses rather the whole world. Right?
Okay, so where does this one take place?
So
in Newfoundland?
Yeah, well, so 2 is we start to leave Newfoundland. 2 is about half Newfoundland, but they go to other places. They go to New Orleans, for example, because they're on the trail of this vampire. Right. They go on a cruise, and they stop at different places. They're always like one step behind, and then eventually what happens, not to give too much away, but this evil vampire ends up back in Newfoundland, and he kills Joseph's cat. And so this obviously, and he threatens, he says, oh, I'm going to get your parents, I'm going to get your friends. So they're forced to rush home and confront him back in Newfoundland.
Okay, right? So that's book number 2.
That's 2.
All right, number 3.
Number 3 is the Gathering Dark.
Okay.
Sorry, Darren. 2 is Killer on the Road.
Okay, that's okay. That's
sorry. 2 is Killer on the Road. 3 is Gathering Dark.
Okay.
So 3, there's another vampire introduced. 3, they've now dealt with this rogue vampire.
Right.
Now we find this other one, Anne Bonny. Anne Bonny was a former pirate in real life. I like to mix in history into my books, right? I thought it'd be an interesting thing.
As a pirate, is this back in time?
Well, no, I like to have people who obviously died in real life, but I have them vampires, so the world only thinks they're dead, but really they're not.
Okay.
So Anne Bonny had wounds that would have killed a human, but because she was a vampire, she survived. And she's taken on different identities.
Right.
My vampires, just to blend into human society, they become different people.
Right.
Every 60, 70, 80 years. When they should be dead, they just assume a new identity.
They move on and
they move on and go to different places. Anyway, Anne Bonny then comes to Newfoundland because she's just interested in these vampires.
Okay.
Right? And she was familiar with Newfoundland hundreds of years ago.
Right.
And things get more and more. At this point, Joseph he's kind of reached his breaking point. He just can't handle all the killing and all the blood, and Cassandra's been lying to him, and he decides that he has to be done with her, at least for a while. So some of this book, he's on his own. Okay. But of course, events happen, and they're threatened once again, and they're forced to come back together.
So that's number 3.
That's number 3.
Okay.
And then at book 4, they come to realize that the council has finally, the good side of the council. I have a lot of fun that members of the good council are like, some of them are celebrities. Like I have Shatner as a vampire in my book, for example.
William Shatner.
Yeah, William Shatner.
Do you have to get permission to use his name or anything?
Not that I know, because it's a spoof, right?
Okay, all right.
I don't think Shatner's going.
I don't think so. You never know.
But so anyway, they're tasked now that they're with once again killing another vampire. Right. And they have the idea that the only way they can win this coming war with the good and evil side of the vampire, humanity trapped in the middle, is they need a spy. So Anne Bonny ends up assuming the role of another vampire who is an evil member of the council. Right? My vampires can change their appearance. It's one of their powers. Right?
Now, so if somebody wanted to pick up your books, where can they find you?
They could go to my website, which is just www.charleso'keefe.com. And that has all the books. They could click on and purchase whichever one they'd like, and read a bit about me. Okay. And of course, I'll be when things get back to normal, I'll be at conventions.
At local conventions around town.
At local conventions.
Perfect. Well, Charlie, thanks for coming in today and telling us about your books.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And we'll be right back after this. Thanks, Charles. Neck's starting to hurt, though, from all that vampire talk. Up next, Kevin tells us all about what's happening down at Escape Quest. And I'd like to welcome to the show Kevin Noseworthy from Escape Quest. Welcome to the show, sir.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Tell us about Escape Quest.
Right, yeah, so we are a locally owned and operated escape room in downtown St. John's. So if you've never heard an escape room before, basically you get a crew of people together. You go into one of our themed rooms, and you got to look for 1 hour. You've got 1 hour to look for clues, overcome obstacles, solve mysteries, and try and win the game before your time runs out.
So you've got an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And how many people can up to the limit?
Yeah, so we recommend usually that you have a minimum of 2 people. Yep. You can have a maximum of 8, although sometimes that group can be a little too big. Groups of 4 to 6 tend to have the most success.
Okay. Walk us through a typical room. So, or a typical, a group shows up at your business. What happens from there?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of our quest guides will greet them and sort of take them through the rules.
Right.
We've had a number of disasters in escape rooms. Some people seem to think that we hide keys in live light bulbs. So we've had all sorts of wacky things go down. So we go over the rules so no one breaks anything.
Yeah.
Then our escape guide will lead them to one of the rooms. Basically, you go in, the door closes behind you. Each room is designed around a particular theme. We've got 5 at the store right now. So, for example, say you're in the Taken by the Fairies. So you go down a hallway, open a door, and suddenly you're in a mystical forest.
Oh, nice.
You look around, there are objects out of place. You might find a book or a note tucked away in a tree. So the group kind of has to split up. Look for different things, objects of interest or points of interest, and examine them and see what they can find. Usually you'll find a clue, say like, let's say there was a date written in a journal and then you find a lock with, a date that you need to open it, right? So that might be an example of how to open the lock, right? So you find that date, July 3rd, 1963, and put it into the lock and boom, it opens. Now you've got a new set of clues and you're ready for the next step of your adventure.
Excellent. How many rooms did you say? I think you said 5?
Yeah, so we've got 5 at the store right now.
Okay.
We take a lot of pride in theming our rooms around Newfoundland, as well as like the supernatural. So we've got 5 experiences. 1892 is based on the Great Fire of St. John's.
Okay.
In that one, you are a group of people who were looting during the raids as the fires of downtown took place, and you're thrown in a jail cell. You have 1 hour to escape because the old Court and Market House is one of the many buildings that was destroyed in the fire.
So you're not a hero of something, you're actually a criminal thrown in jail. And you've got to figure out how to get out of the jail.
Yeah, people love to hear it when they find out that they're actually the criminals in that one.
That's different.
Taken by the Fairies, you were out picking berries in a small community, and suddenly when you turn around and take in the view, the trees move with you. You can hear the children laughing, and the fairies have taken you away. So you've got to outwit them and find your way home.
Yes.
We have Lost Colony of Atlantis. So in this one, Newfoundland, much like NTV has been telling us for decades, is actually the Lost Colony of Atlantis.
Okay.
You have you're exploring an ancient set of ruins buried underneath the cliffs off the East Coast Trail of Newfoundland. You're a team of researchers. The second team. The first team never came back.
Oh, nice.
So you're the second group exploring. There's a strange form of radiation emanating from within inside the structure.
Yeah.
And so you're going in to solve their ancient technology and hopefully end Newfoundland's energy crisis problem.
Oh, wow. You really cover everything there, don't you?
We have Patient 709. This is our zombie apocalypse room.
Okay.
It's set place in the near future. Newfoundland has been completely overrun by zombies.
Yep.
But a secret laboratory hidden underneath Duckworth Street holds the promise of a cure. So you're a group of survivors breaking into this dilapidated laboratory, trying to get past its security and find the cure and save humanity.
Wow.
And finally, we have Best Kind Rewind, a 90s adventure.
Okay.
Escape Quest is owned by a group of 90s kids. So this one is basically set in Newfoundland during the mid-1990s.
Yep.
The epic adventure here, you have 1 hour to get your VHS tape returned to the rental place before your account is blacklisted. So.
Yep, that's the VHS tape, yep.
Yeah, that one's filled with lots of 90s references. You don't need to have lived in the 90s to have played it, but if you did, it's definitely going to be an extra thrill.
Extra charge if it's not rewound?
Oh, absolutely, you have to rewind it.
So, who came up with the idea for the business?
Yeah, so we are owned by, our Escape Quest is owned by 4 people, myself, Kevin Noseworthy, Mark Weber, Mark Denine, and Nicole Kiley. So Mark Denine was working in theater and was living in BC back in 2014, and about a week before he came home, one of his buddies said, hey, you got to try this thing. It's a new experience.
Yep.
And so he went and played an escape room in Vancouver. About a week later, he came home and told me about it. Now, when he played, he was kind of an expert because for up to a decade prior to that, me and my friends, inspired by the show Survivor, had been building like our own version of Survivor out in the woods. We would create all these large-scale games for teams to solve and work against each other with, and vote each other out, that sort of thing. So we had lots of experience in it. And when he told me about it, I said, you know what? Don't tell anyone else.
Nope.
We assembled the team, got together for a meeting that night, and a year to the day of that first meeting, our doors opened.
Good for you guys, good for you. Now, you say you've got 5 different rooms constantly on the go.
Yep.
What's your hours of operation?
Yeah, so we operate Tuesday through Sunday.
Yep.
You can pop in between 3 p.m. and 11 p.m. On any weekday night besides Monday, we're closed. Saturdays we go noon to midnight, and Sundays we're 2 to 10 because when we opened, I wanted to get home to see Game of Thrones on time.
Ah, there you go.
We also, but besides the escape rooms, we also have board games to offer. So during the pandemic, obviously, we closed down for a little while. And we needed sort of something else to get people interested in the business. So we started selling board games. These games are designed, some of them are basically an escape room in a box. So you can take it home to your family. We have other ones that are sort of based on popular movies, like we have one on Princess Bride.
So are these games that you guys have come up with yourself and made?
No, these are just ones that we're a retail outlet for these board games. But they're all based off sort of escape rooms. That said, we might take our hand at designing one of our own, but we haven't gotten there yet.
Excellent. How did they find you guys?
Yeah, so we have a website, escapquest.ca. You can go there and do your booking. You can do everything online, or you can give us a call at 221-EPIC. That's 221-3742. And of course, we're on Facebook and Twitter at EscapeQuestNL. So you can drop us a message, visit our website, do your booking online, and follow us there for all the details too.
Excellent. Well, Kevin, thank you for coming in today, telling us all about Escape Quest.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's an absolute pleasure.
And we'll be right back after this. If you have comments or guest ideas for Pocket Universe, please email darren.pocketuniverse@gmail.com. Thanks to Kevin from Escape Quest. Ooh, all this sand. It'd be perfect if I had a little truck or something. It's also perfect for our next guest, Tom from Sandbox Gaming. And I'd like to welcome to the show Tom Rahal from Sandbox Gaming. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much for having me, Darren.
Tell me about Sandbox Gaming.
So Sandbox Gaming is a registered nonprofit organization in Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. We raise money for children's charities that promote play and development, a whole wide range of different charities. We also strive towards building a inclusive gaming community within Newfoundland and Labrador, and we also work to dispel stereotypes about gamers. Like, there's not really, like, in terms of stereotypes, you usually imagine like a guy down in his mom's basement is like playing the World of Warcrafts and all that, right? Not so much the case at all. Like, the whole variety, like, spectrum of gaming is immense. From all sorts of like tabletop games to like mobile games and everything, right? All sorts of different interests and different people all across.
So you guys cover everything, not just video games, like tabletop games too, you say?
Games.
Games in general.
Gaming
in general.
If it has like, games in general.
Okay. Do you have any annual events, like once or twice a year, that happens every year?
Yeah, we have our main event for fundraising money for charities are our biannual charity marathons. They go on for about 75 hours every time that we stream live on Twitch, Sandbox Gaming NL. Twitch.tv/SandboxGamingNL.
Okay, so take us at the beginning of an event. How does it start? Do people join up for this, or do you have like a regular core of volunteers? Or tell us about how an event is planned and how it goes.
Okay, so with regards to a charity marathon, so we have other events throughout the year as well, but our charity marathons are the main thing. We have a consistent core of volunteers that come on and go as we go year round. And so when we have a charity marathon, it's like usually they're in like June and December.
Right.
Summer, winter. Planning for these usually starts, in the case of like the June marathon, as early as March.
Okay.
Where we have our core volunteers and it's like, okay, let's open game submissions. If you want to play a game in the marathon, submit your game, right? Put in this Google form and we go from there. After that, it's like, okay, we got our games in. We're going to pick out these games, and then we're going to sort out schedules in terms of like who can be on couch. So like they're on like camera during the live stream.
Sure.
Whoever's playing the game for that time, and what game are they playing. We have people monitoring like the Excel document to track donations.
Sure.
Donations come in the entire time. People manning tech, so things don't explode. And are there anything else that we need to get done during that time?
So all these people that play, are these people that are on your, say, in your group, your committee, or in your club, or is this like the general public that register for it?
So in general, it's like volunteers, committee.
Okay.
We do have a like committee level of volunteers, but anyone who's able to play, just join in Sandbox Gaming and like we can figure it out. Right? It's very open and inclusive.
How does it generate money? So you're sitting at home, you're playing the game, you're on Twitch, and how does that convert into money?
Okay, well, we're not so much sitting at home.
Okay.
We often have like a centralized location where all of us are coming and going. So like instead of having like a relay of sorts, like we have a central tech setup, we have a couple of couches, cameras, and everything set up, kind of like we have here.
Okay.
For live streaming. And so it all comes down to incentives that people can donate to do. And people people donate in general. Like in terms of charity, like you have a lot of very generous people. And every donation, every bit of money, everything that comes in is a massive help to raising money and change children's lives. Because we support a lot of different charities. We support like 3 generally every year. Everything helps. We also have our volunteers that go out and fundraise even beforehand.
Okay. Who started Sandbox Gaming?
So Sandbox Gaming was originally founded in 2010, originally known as Goodwill Gaming, by John Michael Bennett, Donald Reed, Scott Whalen, and Jeff Smythe.
Okay.
4 absolutely fantastic guys. I've known most of them myself during my time. I only came in 2015.
Okay.
And we've been going from like 2010 to now, straight, right? Charity marathons the whole way.
Yep.
We rebranded to Sandbox Gaming in September of 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how many members do you have?
How many members do we have? In terms of our board of directors at current, about 6.
Okay.
For committee members, we have anywhere up to like from 10 to 20, and volunteers generally fluctuates between 15 and 30 people.
Now, you say when you're holding an event, you get together like in one place. Is that when you go and set up and that, is that closed off to the public or open to the public so people can come there and watch you guys play like in person? Or is it just closed off and the only way they can see you is over Twitch or online?
So generally the main way people can watch is over Twitch.
Over Twitch,
right?
okay.
Yeah, Twitch. In terms of visiting hours, we do usually have visiting hours.
Okay.
Of course, current circumstances don't really allow for that.
That's right.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of the stream room itself, the stream room is kind of like disconnected from the rest of the spot, where like we can have some people who are coming up on shift.
Sure.
Hang out, but we also usually have a dedicated greeting team. If someone comes in, like someone from one of our charities that we're supporting, or a media person, absolutely bring them on in and we can talk. Maybe have them in on the stream room and everything come on camera. Okay. Absolutely.
Can I ask if you know how much money you guys have raised over the years?
Since 2010, we have raised over $120,000 for
that is amazing.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. That's a lot of money for a charity.
It is.
Do you have, speaking of charities, do you have like every year, do you have like one main charity, or how do you pick your charities?
Our charities are usually picked out by like, people send in their applications as a charity, and we like, literally in January, we get these in. At the end of the month, it's like, okay, let's get the community members and board members in together, and we'll hash one out. We'll vote among all of them and pick 3. At the moment, Easter Seals is one of our main charities. Okay. Because like one of the considerations that we always put in is that what can they do for us on like how can we help raise money for them? How can they help us raise money for them? Like Easter Seals gives us this fantastic, gorgeous space to use. That's right. Their Easter Seals building on Mount Sion Road. Yeah. In other words, is like in other terms, they might like give prizes. They might like, hey, if they show up on stream, that's a huge boost in terms of both motivation of our volunteers and also like talking to people who are watching.
And I guess they can also help cross promote you guys too. If you're raising money for them, they'll use their social media to help promote the event also.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like with regards to advertising, like other than donations, like advertising, getting the word out is like the biggest way. The biggest way. You can help spread the word. Because if no one knows what you're doing, right, then no one's going to come by.
That's true. That's true. And especially today where everything's getting online, you want to get as much attention as you can.
Oh, absolutely.
How can somebody find you? Do you want to get involved, or do you want to make a donation, or do you want to watch one of your charity events?
So the best place to go in terms of like donating, I don't remember the Streamlabs link off my head. It's like usually donate through Twitch. There's this little link that we have.
Perfect.
But you also find a link on our Facebook page to go to the event itself.
Yep.
Sandbox Gaming NL on Facebook, Sandbox Gaming NL as Twitter as well, and on Instagram, Sandbox Gaming NL. In terms of our website, sandboxgaming.org is one of the main places you can go, and like you can see updates of what we're doing, what events do we have coming up, because we do a lot more than charity marathons too. We often have like these big gaming carnivals and chill event mixers as well, like charity nights, specifically like a night for charity instead of like the 75-hour deal, like dessert buffets, trivia nights, all sorts of different things, like whatever we're looking to do is like what people are interested in volunteering for, right? It's very volunteer driven. Dungeons and Dragons Adventures League, right? All sorts of games.
Excellent. All right, so I wanted to say a big thank you for coming in to the show today, and we'll be right back after this. Oh, thank you for watching Pocket Universe. I want to give a big shout out to all our guests, Charles, Kevin, and Tom. I'll see you guys all next time. I gotta try to climb this. Don't think so. Ah! Now you're really done up. Very interesting today and gorgeous. Tell us a little bit about your, what's it referred to, suit, costume?
Costume, cosplay. Steampunk cosplay is. Basically, I was reading before I came here, and they was like, what's the best things for steampunk cosplay? It was like, when in doubt, start off Victorian and add stuff to it.
Okay.
Just don't slap gears on things. The big joke in steampunk is, take whatever you want and slap gears on it and make a steampunk.
No.
That's not it. There are steampunk movies, there are steampunk bands, and one of the bands, I don't know if it's Abney Park, Steampunk Giraffe, or Professor Elemental, they have a song, Just Put Gears on It.
Just put gears on it. No, we don't do that.
The following program is brought to you by Rogers Anyplace TV. Enjoy exclusive